So about a year and a half ago, we launched an initiative out of Berklee called the Open Music Initiative. We're doing it in collaboration with a number of other academic institutions, including the MIT Media Lab. But the vision behind it is to create an open protocol that dramatically simplifies the way that rights owners are identified across the supply chain of the music industry. And whereas the protocol doesn't mandate blockchain, we feel that by far the most interesting implementations of that are blockchain-based.
So this is a rights system, effectively.
Effectively, it's an attribution system. It's ultimately
knowing. What's the problem you're trying to solve with this? Let's start with that.
Well, consider that right now a global hit, take a Taylor Swift song, could have as much as 500,000 different ways of making money globally. The average song has maybe on a minimum, 8 different collaborators. Being able to identify and drive the money to all these different people, and in many situations you have as many as 50 different intermediaries between the consumer and ultimately the person that created a song, leads to a lot of revenue leakage at best. And in most situations, people just don't get paid.
It gets its 3 cents from Spotify. This system knows and identifies who gets the fractional distribution.
That's correct. That's one of the objectives.
And so, but how does it work? Does each player, if you will, in this get a key?
So right now, our aim is first to get the industry to interoperate. So when you think of all the different ways that a song makes money, every one of these different platforms has a different way of accounting for that and a different way of identifying of who owns what.
Right.
So there is no interoperability. The aim behind this is first to agree on a shared digital architecture for the industry. And then what we aim to do is create the conditions ultimately for applications to be built in order to accomplish what you talked about.
And so who are you putting out of business?
That's a great question. I think fundamentally it will reorient the music industry. Right now, the way that you track who's owed what is ultimately done through sampling. So performing rights societies in the US, we have ASCAP and BMI, generally track who gets paid.
So now you don't have to sample. You're going to know with certainty every single time.
That's correct. Ultimately, you're moving from a sampling model to a measurement model.
I've been dying to find a real practical application of blockchain outside of this craziness going on with coins and Bitcoin. This is an audit system. That's an audit system.
That's correct. So think that if you're a songwriter, for the first time ever, you would be able to track in real time everywhere any of your songs is ultimately getting played, irrespective of platform.
And
that doesn't exist.
Existing platform has been the most welcoming of using
So right now we have 200 different companies that have joined the initiative, including all 3 major labels. So that's Sony, Universal, Warner. Almost every streaming service, with the exception of Apple, has joined in.
Because
so that's
they want to be part of an experiment, or because they really
ultimately everybody is aligned that being able to compensate the rightful creators is a big deal.
Will it save them money?
It will save them money from a transactional cost. If you share infrastructure, especially for something that is not really a competitive advantage, knowing who to pay is not your competitive advantage if you're Spotify or Apple.
This is so much more than I thought Berklee did. And I met Panos when I lectured at Berklee. It was fascinating. Did you know that you have to be able to read music to get accepted into Berklee? And I think that's a mistake. Let me say that, because there's so many brilliant ideas that should be engaged there that have nothing to do with reading music.
Kevin, you bring up an interesting point, right? So right now, music is not created in the traditional way, right? If you're a kid and you're making music on your phone, ultimately, if you have a system of tracking, you can take any amount of different tracks that have been recorded, mash them up, share them on social media. If you are the person responsible for creating the next big hit, irrespective of who you are, why not make money out of it?
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.